Are you struggling to meet new people, not sure what to talk about, or how to start a conversation? No worries, I've got you. Don't miss the Art of Connection virtual workshop happening on July 30th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've partnered with the Toronto Dating Hub to create a brand new workshop that will help you navigate social situations with ease. During this workshop, you'll learn how to appear more inviting and use positive body language. You'll learn how to master conversation starters, compliments, and icebreakers. And you'll build confidence with active listening and sharing engaging stories. This interactive workshop includes breakout rooms and group discussions so that you can practice what you learned. Space is limited, so get your tickets now. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/events to learn how you can master the art of networking. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about the friend who gives you what they want you to have. Period. Period with a T. Period. They don't care about what you want. They're going to give you what you get. How do you deal with this kind of friend? Because, hey, they actually care because they're giving you something, right? Nah, no, and let's talk about it. Are you ready? Let's go. It's no secret here that I used to be a people pleaser. I used to be deep in it, doing everything that I could possibly do to make sure the other person felt comfortable. At least that's what it looks like on the outside. Internally, it was chaotic. Inside of my mind, I was just like, I'm afraid that if I don't do something for them, then they're not going to like me. That was the thing. And I had to make sure that I could do something that they couldn't do because otherwise they won't like me. I had to make sure that I was valuable, I was important, I was special to them because I wanted to be that. I think everyone wants to be valued. They want to feel like they're special and important to someone. Do you feel that way? I certainly do. I certainly have felt that way for a very long time. But the thing that has shifted in me is that I thought that if I were to do or be or to say the right things to people, then that would grant me acceptance. If I just figured out what they wanted and became that thing, then I would be accepted. I would be appreciated. And that led me to really forget myself, really forget how I felt about things, expressing, doing things that I enjoyed. I didn't really have a sense of self, honestly. I didn't have anything that I really enjoyed that I was willing to share with people. And it was because I had been through so many experiences where I did share what was joyful and exciting and important to me and been shut down that it was so painful to even have that joy, because I knew that as soon as I expressed it, it was going to be shut down, that I would just stop having it. I would stop thinking about those things that could potentially be fun. I stopped seeking it out. I started seeking out what I could do for other people so that I could be accepted, believing that the joy would come from people saying, "Hooray, Lee, you did this thing for me. You're so amazing. I love you so much. Never leave my life. I can't live without you. I'm just going to die." That was what I thought joy would be for me. That's what I was looking for in my actions, my words, and my behaviors to do for other people so that I would get that thing. And you know what? Big surprise. It didn't work. It didn't work. Now, what does this have to do with just getting what you get or somebody giving that they give you? And there's no room for asking for anything else. There's no room for requesting anything else. I'll tell you that from my own experience with being a people pleaser, there's this video that I posted on TikTok about how being a people pleaser, I was really, 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 really not a kind person. I was willing to give and give and give, but there were strings attached all over for this. And because I was really focused on me and how I felt about the experience, I had no room for anybody else. So what does this have to do with giving what you get? Just taking the thing that the person gives you. Because my own personal experience, as I started to describe, I was that person who couldn't hear people when they wanted something from me, especially if they wanted something that I couldn't give them, like listening to them, like being a shoulder to cry on, or like being empathetic. I thought I was doing those things, but I really wasn't doing those things. And if someone had told me that I wasn't doing the thing that they wanted me to do, I'd freak out. You're ungrateful. You get what you get. I wouldn't say it like that, but I'd be like, I worked so hard. I did all of this stuff for you, and this is how you treat me. This victim mindset came out. You get what you get. That side. I try to guilt them and shame them into believing that what I gave them was good enough. It was. By my standards, I'm a good friend. I'll drive you to the airport without you even asking. I'll help you move. I'll go rent the truck. I'll spend all day. You don't have to pay me. I'm a good friend. I could do that for you. Would you ask me to do anything else? You asked me to show up in any other way that was uncomfortable for me? You get what you get. You get what you get. Just like that. That was the tone. And it was underlying. It wasn't something that I knew consciously that I was trying to do to hurt my friend. It was just that I was so incapable of reflecting and seeing them as a person who had different needs than what I could do. There was a fear of being rejected and lost and replaced because I wasn't able to do the thing that they wanted me to do. Because I wasn't able to meet their needs. Oh no, I'm useless now. I can't do anything that they really want. They're going to get rid of me. I'm going to be forgotten. I'm not going to be cared for. I'm going to be just a piece of trash in the street, just a gutter person. Without any friends, I'm such a loser. Blah, 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 blah. How could they do this to me? All those, regular narratives that run into people's head who are pretty insecure about how much value that their existence provides in the first place. So, I discovered that I don't have to do anything for anybody. I ain't gonna do shit for you. Nothing. I don't have to do anything for you. I just exist and I'm amazing in your space. That's how I roll these days. That's how I know these days. And it took so many years to get to that point. Because if you heard last week's episode, man, but it took some years to get to that. And because I feel this way about myself, people feel this way about me too, which is remarkable. It's absolutely amazing. It's stunning. But so I want to say to those of you who are people who were in my position, who are people pleasers, who feel like people just need to take what they get from you because you work so hard, you do so much anyway, I want you to pause and breathe and relax and stop doing stuff for people. Just stop doing stuff for people, okay? It's not getting you that result that you're looking for. It's not getting you that love, appreciation, and respect that you want because it's missing from the person that looks at you when you look in the mirror. It's missing. It's missing. You need to go find that first and stop doing things for people. That'd be step one. And just be like, if they ask you, they push your boundaries. Nah. No, don't be that. Don't do that. Respect yourself and they will respect you. And they won't forget you. They won't forget that impact that you had on them. And then you'll also find people who genuinely like you, who genuinely like the things that are joyful and fun and exciting to you. Because after I started recognizing more of myself, that is, I stopped doing things and running around and spending my energy trying to get other people's love and attention and affection. After I stopped doing that, I had a moment to breathe and to sit down and to try and figure out what was joyful and important to me. Take care of that person who looks at me in the mirror and say, hey, what's good with you? What do you want to do? What's fun? What do you like? What's interesting? It took me some years to figure that out too. But when I started doing that, I felt more comfortable around people and less of a desire to do things for them. Quick story that I'll share with you that just popped into my head. I had dated a woman when I was like in my mid 20s, right? And I was super needy. As I just described in this podcast episode, I was super needy and people pleasy, and I'll do whatever you want me to do, but I'll do it to the best of my abilities. And if it's not enough for you, then that's too bad for you. But I need to be needed. You need to pay attention to me and take care of me and blah, blah, blah. And man, that was exhausting to even say. But even though, so our relationship ended and I did ask for some feedback and they said, well, you're needy. And I'm like, oh, wow, that hurt. But I heard that. And it's not like I changed right away. It took some years to. So like a decade and a half, 15 years later, somehow we connected on Facebook. And there was this overwhelming desire to do something that was pleasing to her. Like give her information, compliments, something like that. Overwhelming desire to do so. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I'm not trying to date you. It's just that there was this pattern. There's this overwhelming feeling that I needed that I was back when I was 26 years old, back in that space where I just had to give to be accepted. And I'm like, ugh, it felt pretty bad. It didn't feel good at all to see myself doing that. I'm sharing this story with you because I know that some of these behaviors are so ingrained in us. This people pleasing comes not just from me, but it comes from my parents who've done the same things. I watched them and how they worked with their parents. I don't know what their parents were like with their parents, but I imagine that they may have done the same thing. People pleased, placated, done all of the things, and then got frustrated when it didn't get the results that they were looking for, but still had an overwhelming desire to please. Got to break out of that. Crush it, smash it, because it just ruins your relationships and the connections that you could potentially have with other people by being your authentic self, by talking about those things that are fun, joyful, and exciting and interesting to you. You will never find those things that are fun, joyful, exciting, and interesting to you if you're so focused on what you can do for another person. If you never stop and look at yourself in the mirror, you're always going to be upset because they're not willing to take what you can give, not realizing that you are the gift. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam. If you'd like a little more guidance and hands-on support, then I've got great news. You can hire me as your own personal coach. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to apply for individual or group coaching. In this 12-week program, I'm going to help you make the meaningful connections that you deserve. After this coaching program, I promise you'll be able to do 3 things. 1, you'll be able to clearly identify who belongs in your tribe and who doesn't. Say goodbye to those people who are wishy-washy, you're unsure of. No, you will know for certain whether or not they deserve to be in the same space with you. And 2nd, you are going to know that your thoughts and feelings are valid and worth expressing. So if you do have feelings about your friends not holding up boundaries or not holding up space for you or not meeting your needs, then you are not going to shy away from telling them. You will be able to communicate your boundaries in a clear, concise manner and advocate for yourself in your relationships. And finally, you are going to learn how to start and stop conversations with strangers and steer them towards topics that are interesting and important to you. I don't know about you, but I don't have weeks, months, years to discover whether or not me and my new friend have compatible values. If you know what you're looking for, you can discover if you're compatible in just a few conversations. If all this sounds good to you and you're ready to make those meaningful connections, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. Again, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. I look forward to working with you. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you have burning questions about your friendships and your platonic relationships with your coworkers and so forth, let me know. Write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com, and I might just read your letter out loud. Okay, so how to take a hint. I have a lot of trouble with relationships, even friendships, because I can't figure out when someone's busy, sick, or whatever, or when they just don't want to hang out, or they just don't like me that much. Maybe not actively hate me, but just fairly indifferent. It usually takes till I notice they suddenly have free time for someone else before it dawns on me that they really didn't like me that much. To be honest, it hurts. Especially when they sort of insist on doing things together at first, but then it just becomes me texting to hang out or whatever, and they don't follow up. Is there a good way to just ask someone who's probably a bit conflict avoidant if they really want to be friends or if they're just being polite? Boy, howdy, is there. I did a podcast. I don't know if I did a podcast. I don't remember if I did a podcast. I did a podcast. Let me just say. Okay, we're like remembering these things. I know I did a video, a TikTok video, and a newsletter about being breadcrumbed. And breadcrumbing is essentially when people want your time and attention, but they don't want to do anything with it once they get it. They just dismiss it. So essentially this person is your friend, whoever this person is like, hey, let's do something. Let's hang out. Let's go this, let's do that. And then when it comes time to make the plans to do it, you can't get a hold of them. They're too busy. They're sick, whatever's going on with them, but they have a reason not to hang out with you. I really think what's happening here is that they take your time and focus and attention from other things, and it's just pointed squarely on them. And you're believing that they have an intention to hang out with you, but they don't, because their actions don't show it. It doesn't manifest. It doesn't manifest. So what's happening here? How to take a hint? You're asking, is there a way to ask someone who's conflict avoidant if they want to be friends or if they're just being polite? Well, that's why people don't like people pleasers. If they're just being polite, they're like, yeah, let's hang out. And look at the impact. Look at the devastation that it has on you. If you're a people pleaser out there, I'd like you to please consider that saying yes to too many things instead of saying, no, I don't really have time, or, saying this ultimately difficult thing, which is, look, I don't really want to hang out with you, is really, really difficult. Even what I said is kind of, it's kind of indirect. It's like, I kind of don't wanna, when you probably really know that you don't want to for whatever reasons, and you're afraid of hurting someone else's feelings. And I get it. Society has really set us up for not wanting to hurt other people's feelings. We're responsible for how other people behave. We do unto others as we'd have them do unto us, which really means that you treat people the way you want to be treated, and you don't want anybody to tell you that they don't want to hang out with you. You don't want anybody to tell you that, so you don't tell anybody that, right? It's do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, or to treat them the way you want to be treated. It doesn't work. One size fits all doesn't work. And besides that, you really do betray yourself, because you'll find yourself making a bunch of excuses. You'll find yourself frustrated and resentful if you actually do hang out with them, because it's an obligation. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not interesting. But taking care of other people's feelings is going to get you into a bit of trouble. So that's a quick sidebar with that. But how to take a hint. What is the hint? Well, clearly they're saying they don't want to hang out with you. And I know it takes a moment to recognize that they don't want to hang out with you. And it's hurtful to experience that. It's hurtful to see that, because you really want to believe the words that people say to you. You want to assume positive intention. That's another one of those beliefs that's flying out there. Assume positive intention. They don't mean to hurt you. They're just busy. Assume the best. They're really sick. Whatever's going on with them in their life. They really like you, but things are happening that's out of their control. I'd like you to consider that what you can control is you and how you feel about it. And I'd like you to trust your observations. I'd like you to trust how you really feel. And if someone's giving you these mixed signals, which essentially is, look, I want to hang out, but never manifest it. It never happens. You don't hang out. Then they don't want to hang out with you. They really just don't want to hang out with you. They don't know how to say the words. I always advocate for conversation. So you ask for some polite way or a good way to ask someone who's probably in conflict avoidant if they really want to be friends. You don't really have to have a conversation in this piece. If you'd like to go on about your life and not talk to them, then you may go ahead and do that. But here's some actionable steps to take. And this is what I recommend for people. If they say to me they want to hang out, then I want to protect my energy and my focus and my feelings and have them figure out when, what we're doing, those details of the situation. Because if they're serious about it and they're not just dragging me along, then they're going to have plans. They're going to have ideas. They're going to have things to do. And they say, okay, look, I think that, the last times we've been hanging out or you've tried to hang out, it just hasn't happened. And I'm always reaching out to you. I'm always reaching out to you to plan something, but nothing ever happens. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop reaching out to you. I'm going to stop. So you can just stop reaching out to that person. Stop giving them their time, your time and your energy and your focus. What you want to do instead is put the ball in their court and say, I'm going to stop reaching out to you. The next time you want to hang out, reach out to me with some plans and some times so we can meet, right? Some plans and times to meet. So you want to make sure that you're actually meeting. But Lee, what if they flake? Well, you get more information about how they don't want to hang out with you. That's just another thing for you to know, that they don't really want to hang out with you. If they're not going to, it's an elaborate ruse if they actually do put time, effort, and energy into making plans to meet up with you and to text you back. They might only think about you when they're lonely. And they're like, oh, I want some attention from you. You're going to give them that attention. You're going to give them that refreshing energy and vigor that you have for the relationship. Maybe because they feel like nobody else wants to hang out with them, so they'll hang out with you because you're always ready. You're always ready. So tell them, essentially, I'm busy by not reaching out to them. I've got other things going on. Let them wonder. Who cares? You don't have to tell them anything. Well, let them wonder. And then when they reach out to you, take it genuinely and then see where it goes from there. But if it falls apart, I'm telling you, if it falls apart, there's really not much more information that you need. If they say they're busy, sick, or whatever, they could be. But I want you to focus on how you feel about it. They're not prioritizing. You have planned this for weeks. Finally, people prioritize those things that are important and interesting to them. They prioritize the things that they really genuinely mean to do. And if they don't really mean to hang out with you, then they won't. And you'll continue to see that in their behavior. They'll say it, don't believe the hype. All right. So is there a good way to ask? I wouldn't recommend asking them. Like I said, I would recommend telling them what you're going to do, how you're going to show up, and the expectations of what happens and the expectations. So that's what my best advice. That's my best advice to you. So I want to wish you good luck. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media. And I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.